Hello, everyone, and welcome to the new edition of the Low-Code Cafe. And this is the Christmas special edition. So thanks for taking your time to be here to close this year together. It's been a wonderful year, and we have a couple of things to share, a couple of interesting events that will happen in this webinar, like the charity auction, and we'll get to see also the product in review, which will be, I think, very cool. And I'm also very, very curious to see how that feels. So we'll look like what Plant and App looked 1 year ago compared to how it looks today. So that will be very cool. And we also have the wish list from Santa this year. So again, we'll be sharing a bit of our plans next year, but also have an open Q&A on what other features we should have on our roadmap. Cool. So just to give you a bit, I mean, a lot of stuff happened this year, but I want to point some of the major, more visible events. So as most of you probably know, we've launched the Low-Code Academy this year. Radu and Patrick did a wonderful job at creating this online platform where people can self-train and get certified on low-code and Plant and App. It's been going very, very good. So far, there are 262 people that started the course, and we have 46 people that got certified. So that's a very good start. And we have big plans with the Academy as well in the future. Another big thing that happened in the past couple of weeks, not sure if you visited our website recently, but it got a major revamp. So it looks much more cleaner and modern, and a lot more information about what Plant and App is, what Plant and App does. And we've also see a lot of new traffic coming in. Compared to the last year, this year we had 334% more traffic. So I think that shows a healthy sign of interest in Plant and App. We've also added a use cases section on our website. It's still in its infancy. We only have 17 use cases. We probably have 30 more in our backpack that we want to publish. But I'd also like to invite the community to send us your use cases. We can put them here. We can also tie to your logo, so it's also a good mechanism for you to promote. But overall, also a very good way to show what the platform is capable of. And I think many of the times, even in our conversation, our sales conversation, it's about stirring people's imagination, you know, because yeah, Plant and App is a generic set of tools. You don't really understand what it can be done with it until you see what others have built with it. So I think it's a very good opportunity to grow together in this section of use cases. There's also a lot happening on the community side. In the community portal, we launched the beta program a couple of releases ago, 2 releases ago, and it's already been the second iteration. And the participation was modest for these first 2, but I think the output that we got out of it was very good, because we got to identify some issues earlier before the release. So then we planned by the official release to also have hotfixes for those addressed. Like with this last one, 118, there was a couple of items found by the community, and today we published hotfixes for nearly everything that was found. So it's a good opportunity, both for the community as a whole, because we'll have a stronger, more stable product, but also individually for each of the participants, because you can make sure the upgrade will work smoothly on your setup, because you've tested it and you've reported anything that you found. And finally, it's also a very good mechanism to influence the development, to be very close to our product team, and influence what goes in, what doesn't go in. There's a lot more that we are planning doing on the community portal. Probably the next major addition will be the feature request list. So that will be a good engagement channel as well. So if you are not already in the beta program, we'd be glad to have you. On this other end, on the YouTube channel, mostly because of this low-code cafe event that we have every Wednesday, but also the low-code campfire, we've added 170 new videos this year. We have now 333 subscribers and 772 hours of videos watched. So that is a major growth from last year, where we had like only 300 hours of video, so more than doubled there. And to put all of this in numbers, this year we also did a bit of fundraising. So we raised 1.1 million, and we used that money very wisely to expand the team, get new customers. So right now we have nearly 100 customers, and this is doubled compared to where we were last year. Our revenue grew 300%. And then the team also doubled since last year, and we are keep expanding on all fronts, keep recruiting, and keep bringing in new customers, new partners. So it's a very healthy and accelerated growth. And it looks like next year will be even better from what we have now in the pipeline. And I think that will reflect in the product, in the quality of the product, in the quality of the community, the subjects that we see, the integrations that we see. And I will be sharing more towards the end our roadmap, and then we can engage more on what's coming. But right now I would like to invite Radu to give us a brief of presentation on how Plant and App looked 1 year ago.
Thank you, Bogdan. Yeah, so a very long year, I would say. A year of maturity for the product, a year of maturity that changed us as a team a lot. As Bogdan said, we doubled the number, and I don't know. It was a wonderful year. It was full of challenges, and I mean, looking at in preparation for today, looking at the two versions of the product from today and for a year ago, it's a big change. We have, how can I say it? Not only the product evolved. I think we as a team and as a process and everything growed well this year. So really happy with everything that happened this year. So really grateful for the work of more of my colleagues and everyone. So maybe I'm getting sentimental here, but it was a really good year. So let me share my screen and let's jump into seeing how everything evolved in the past year. So just to give you a quick idea, on the left side we have a setup of a Plant and App version of 1.10, which was preparing for release at that point, and on the right side we have a new released 1.18 version of the application. So you can see it's a little bit of difference from a year ago. Behind the scenes, a lot of things got a few things got changed, but I think in general the whole year the year was very good in terms of stability and improvements in the quality of life of not only of the product, but of the low-code engineer that's working with the product. Let's say I think one of the most important thing that got stabilized this year was the entity builder, which now generates pages without any problems. Can create different data structures, different data models. Even maybe if the UI under configuration didn't change that much, there's a lot of stability that came a lot of stability that got into the product during those years. So really happy of that. I'm again, one thing that I can mention is the UI, a little bit of UI changes here and there, and for the configuration pages. Not much change, but I think they look really nice, and I really like the new font. So, I really enjoy. It looks a little bit more cleaner. Another thing that really got I'm saying that the product itself just got more mature, and it's really rare to see an error or a bug recently. The workflows, I think they're the one that stabilized a lot during this time. A lot of maybe not a lot of things changed from the UI perspective, but those really got right now. Those really work better, and they do exactly what you expect, and you don't get any kind of errors. Now, during the last year, we added a few pages, so you can see maybe even if the list on the right side is a little bit more compact. It has some new additions for managing. So in 1.18 we got the page management, which is a really good tool to configure menu structure, while in the 1.10 there wasn't really an option to achieve that properly. We also got a tool that a lot of people were really happy when we initially launched it. It's regarding the SQL console. So that's a really nice addition to the product, an interface where you can actually access and query the databases that you the tables of the database that you have, and achieve different updates. A lot of data manipulation, which otherwise you would have to connect maybe to a remote server or RDP, or set up a connection string that will work publicly to access the data. So really nice and really good addition to the product. This one I'm really happy that this is here right now. It saves a lot of time doing that, and great thing added to the product. Another thing that we didn't have a year ago, namespaces. So a way to categorize your entities and workflows and tokens, right? So entities a really good way to put your work into some categories and find them and filter them. I would say that this saved maybe not a lot of time, but a lot of nerves when working and trying to finding entities and workflows. And I think this is one good example for improving the quality of life of the low-code engineer, having everything a little bit more structured and easier to find. Entities now in the latest version have permissions for all the users, something that was lacking a year ago. Something making the application suffer when we're discussing to have entities public facing or accessing the data from an unauthenticated user. This was added to the product right now, and this is again an improvement that it's in the help of the developer to achieve things a little bit more easier. So again, a really good thing. Now, in terms of workflows, we have the default values for the input parameters, right? So right now we have the option to make an input parameter required, and also pass a default value, which again, in the case of, it's basically giving you more power when designing an application or workflow. You can create more versatile workflows, having those two options. So if I put it in the perspective, the input parameters at that point didn't only have the type, now we also have the require and the default value. So really useful, and I'm just going to tell you a trick. So the default value, it's the time saver when it comes for testing the workflows, because you can just write in the data that you're planning to test with and just run the workflows, run and test the workflows. A really good, really helpful feature for the quality of the, you know, it's one thing to have a stable product after a year, but I really like the fact that the product went in the direction of not only being more stable, but saving time when developing. And I know maybe this doesn't feel like a big thing here, it's just supporting a default value, but when working on a daily basis with a low-code application like Plantain App, it's a life changer to have these small changes here and there that you otherwise had to write every time and do manual changes to everything. So really really grateful for the team for adding those features to the product. Now another thing, and another important thing I would say, is the fact that right now in the logs we have the option of downloading the system files for the logs. That's a lifesaver, because again, if an error happened and it was a very long error, we couldn't throw that full error, and we are usually writing it in a file on the server. Now you can download those files and review the errors directly. And again, time saver here. You don't need to you don't need to go to a FTP or go to a remote desktop connection and find the files, download the files, and so on. You just have them here directly, and you can download them, review them, and take action based on that. Really a very big time saver for this feature added to the product. Something that I would like to discuss here. 8 versions ago, there was there were those fear of upgrading systems, because I have this working already. I don't want to break it anymore. I don't want to basically give myself a little bit more work, so I'm just going to leave it like this. I think the updates feature and the updates process behind the scenes when doing an upgrade and doing a release, it's working really good with the help of the beta testers. Right now we are having almost no bugs released in each individual features. I'm not afraid to upgrade anymore. I'm not I'm confident basically when I'm doing this that nothing is gonna break when the actual release is happening. I would rather do it as soon as possible. There are a lot of things going on behind the scenes, a lot of things getting optimized, a lot of things getting more secure, better, stronger. So this update, the updates themselves, I would say, even if it's not a visible or something that you can touch as a change, it got really mature. Another thing, and I think this actually is a visible one, the skin got updated. So now we changed from a vertical menu to a horizontal one, and we moved basically the user management from not the user management, I'm sorry, the controls of the user to the right side. Hopefully the idea of this was to give the end user a little bit more space to make it a little bit more to have more canvas to work with, and to just in the hopes that you're gonna get a better view for the data that you want to display on inside the application. Not only that, but the skin comes right now with the option of editing the components of the page, changing the colors a little bit more easier, while previously you had static colors that you can choose from. Now, for example, you have a full color picker, and you have multiple options, and not only that, but you can write your own CSS. You can change the accent colors and so on. Otherwise, before of that, you only got stuck to a few options of customizing the application. So again, an easier way to access and modify the content. You don't need to find each individual component and get into edit mode. Right now, you have the option of to customize directly to enter settings of the modules directly from the skin, and also the option of entering the configuration page directly from the skin. You don't need to navigate the configuration page. And basically, that being said, I think one of the biggest changes of this year is the update of the settings screens of the components. So we moved and let's find, for example, the APIs screen in this section. Maybe I should do something else before let me create a really quick an entity. Let's see, addresses, and let's see, name and street. Let's do it like this, so we can have and let me save. As you can see, so the APIs so let me see if I can put them side by side. Let's move to the configuration screen also here. So and let's give it some space. So the UI of the screens of the components, like the APIs, the automation, the form, the listing module, for example, those all got an updated, and they look better and better right now. So they are part of the application. They don't look outside of the scope of the application. Maybe we can also have a look. So for example, this is the API. We also have the automation screens. So they started looking a little bit different. They feel like being part of the application and not outside. Also, we can have a look. We can have a look at the form and the listings. Let's see. I can find the one here. So let's see, edit. Let's go to the form first, and let's go to the form. So this looks a little bit more in line with what Plantain app, with the Plantain app vision of looking and interacting with the system. We, instead of having very long scrollable windows right now, we have tabs to grant access a little bit faster to the settings that you want to do to the components. Instead of having an obscure general settings button now, you have a complete section of the. Let me put them as much as I can side by side. You have a tab for that. If you want to look at the events, you don't need to scroll a lot and a lot to go to the form event. You are basically you have them on a click, and the layout as well. You don't need to scroll back and find the small button that's going to give you the layout. You have access directly to from the tabs, and this also applies for the listing module. See, so again, you don't need to scroll for finding the items button or the grid buttons. You just have a tab for the buttons, and as you can see, I don't need to scroll by any means on the right side, while on the left side it's a scrolling simulator to get access to the data. And also for that, also for the views, the same thing. The settings, again, not a small button. but a big tab because there are a lot of things here and there. Yeah, so those are like the main items. There are a lot of improvements and things happening behind the scenes. A lot of things that I'm not sure I have the time to go through all of them, but I think the end result, after looking in the perspective of what happened in the past 1 year, is that it's looking better and better every day. It's gonna look even better for the next year, and I'm really happy, and I just cannot wait to see how the next Christmas, and to make another comparison, and close this one and just find a new version, maybe 1.28, and review that.
Well, very good. Another thing along the way, we've gotten into a very regular pattern of release. So as we talk about these features and see them coming, they're coming very regularly and reliably. So that's just another piece of the stability story that we're telling.
Yeah, there's like so one point that Bogdan already said, it's the academy. We have improved documentation and version documentation. We have different other auxiliary systems behind the scenes to help us improve every day. So it's gonna get better and better.
So Radu, don't go anywhere.
Okay.
We're going to need you here in just a second. First of all, I am going to push something onto the clipboard for anybody who hasn't gone out there and done it yet. I'd really appreciate it if you could join us on community.plananapp.com, because that's where we're going to hold the Hacks and Geeks charity auction. Now, I'll let you decide who's the hacks and who's the geeks, but we are going to be this is our first time ever, but running a charity auction, and the proceeds, well, we'll talk about all that, but you can use either the QR code and get into it on your mobile device, or you can just use that URL that's on the clipboard on the chat. Great. So what is this auction about? This is first of all, we'll talk about the prize. The prize is a 2-hour session with one of our experts, and our experts will give you can either get help on an existing project, you could get advice on how to architect an application. It could be a custom training session, just pick their brain for what you need. But it's a get out of mess free card. You can put this in your pocket, and when you need to talk to one of these two experts, you can get a hold of them and use up your session. So that's the prize. The featured experts are Robert, our Chief Technical Officer, and Radu, our Head of Training. So what you're going to get here is the top guys. The ones that I call. I really appreciate having the ability to tag Radu and say, hey, I have this question about this thing. What's the best way to do it? And I used that last week with him. So it's really this is really a pretty significant prize. The proceeds from this are going to be dedicated to one of 3 nonprofit organizations that combat climate change. So that's where we're going. Let's take a look at it. Let's try out our auction software. So I am going to minimize here a little bit, and you can see if hopefully you're playing along, but in just a second, I'm going to give you a chance to bid and bid without any real commitment. We're just going to practice. So when I start the auction for Radu coming up in just a minute, here's what's going to happen. You'll get a Radu and his description and the bid amount, and if you want to bid, you just click on the bid button, and hopefully if you've accessed the system, and this is once you use that link at community.plananapp.com, there is a charity auction is a menu option up there on the top. And let's see, I'm going to maximize this just so you can see it, charity auction right here. And so let's try it out. Would everybody please bid? Okay, we have some bids going on, and it's going up and up. And so and please, everyone, give it a try. What we're going to do is when we've introduced our subjects, our Radu and Robert, and as we've talked about them and said nice things about them, but we're going to get to the end, and I'm going to say going once, going twice, and then at that point we will. Let's see here. I've got to check my software. I will complete the auction, and the bid button will go away. If you're in the middle of bidding, you won't be able to bid anymore. So we'll have a winner. And so in this case, Ben is our winner. It's not a real one, but that is at least showing what we're going to do. So here we go. We're going to start in just a second, and let's see how this is going to go.
Maybe before that, Dale, if you allow me a few words.
Please.
Yes, I think this, again, it's another great use case. We should get this in our use cases section because, yes, this charity thing is built with Plant an App. But also I want to mention why we picked donating these funds to the climate change organizations, because I think around Christmas, it's a lot about donating to children. And I think combating climate change is a big thing for the future of these children. So I think that is a good thing to point out, just to get people to bid more.
Very good. Thanks for adding that. And since you mentioned that it's built in Plant an App, this is an app that I spent about 4 hours on. I like to tweak things and make it just right. Hopefully it'll end up being just right today. So Radu, you are our first prize. And so let's talk a little bit about Radu. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and start the auction, and then we can talk a little bit about him as that's going on. So I do have a private bid of $50 already set for Radu. So he's definitely going to sell, but hopefully we'll raise some money here. So Radu is an implementation guru. He knows, we rely on him to find the solutions for any scenario. Thank you for your bid. Thank you for your bid. And so if you were to get a chance to sit down and get an hour or two with Radu and just ask, you're gonna find and figure out and work together to find great ways to get things done. He is our go-to guy for tips and tricks and hacks. He's been there and done that, and he does it every day. And as you know, he's presented many times in the Low-Code Café. And I am assured, I haven't gotten to the Romanian home office yet, but I am assured that he is the life of the party. So I look forward to seeing about that. And I hear he claims that laziness is the source of his inspiration. Is that true, Radu?
Definitely. That's what gets me started on the day. Just, I'm going to be the laziest person I can today. And I woke up and, go and get in front of my PC and do those awesome things every day. It's first of all, thank you for this nice presentation of me. Really grateful for this and for people that are bidding right now. Just so you know what you're taking home. So I'm not sure if I can fit in a package. I'm not going to be delivered at your door. But I like dogs, and I know my way around the SQL query. So
well,
yeah,
we're not done.
Oh, okay.
We heard from some of your compatriots, and you are admired for your ability to work hard while enjoying it to the fullest. And so that's a nice thing. And another thought was that teaching is not necessarily easy, but for you, you make it look like a piece of cake. And so that, why wouldn't you want to bid on something like that? And you make learning fun. So you're having an impact on the people that you are working with every day. And you're great at giving feedback and keeping everyone busy and creating a perfect work environment. So these are the people that are sitting next to you. And if we were to do it in 3 words, you're inspiring, motivational, and fun. So isn't it tough to have to sit there and listen to all these nice things being said about you?
It's, yes, it's really hard. I mean, it's I'm really grateful for the team for saying those kind words for me about me. I'm really happy that I'm inspiring them to do to say those nice things about me, and hopefully inspiring them to do nice things every day. And yeah, I mean, I'm surprised. I'm surprised.
It's their little Christmas gift to you. So I am going to start saying it. We've got going once, going twice, sold. Okay, thank you so much. Oh, last minute bid timed perfectly. Jim Anthony, $175. So very, very nice. Of course, this is new for us. We've never done it, so we had no clue how doing a charity auction was going to go, but thank you guys for participating. And so now we have to go on to our second victim. And if I could, let's see if I can move on here. Robert, who is our Chief Technical Officer. Robert, can you unmute and say hello today?
Hello, everyone.
Hello, hello. All right, here we go. I'm going to start the auction up for you. Robert is our Chief Technical Officer. He's the guy that has final say on all of our technology, our features, and our code, and just very key to our product. He is our go-to guy for any code puzzlers. The product's been developed over a dozen years, and there's a lot of code behind that makes all this low coding very easy. And so when we're trying to figure out what to do, how it works, and how to make it better, he's the guy. And again, if we started off with a private bid here, there's no question that Robert is going to go. But I wanted you to just know, last week we talked about the Firebase module. That was guest presenter Jerry Maddox. And Robert, I understand you were the developer of the Firebase add-on. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Correct.
So anybody who's thinking about getting into Firebase and wanting a direct connection to that capability, that questions about how that goes together, or maybe the ability to put a word into his ear about what you'd like to see it do next, that would be the guy. Peter, thank you for your bid. And so now, the team has said some things about you as well, some nice things about you. You are called the silent genius. Does that make sense to you?
I guess, yeah.
Yeah, you don't want to say much at all.
The issues, but I don't want to, I don't know, just be proud. I mean, I am proud of it, but I don't want to show it.
I understand. Well, one of the things we've heard is that we never quite know what you're working on. Now, hopefully Bogdan knows what you're working on, but the result is a masterpiece. Radu, you can jump in here. Tell me things.
It's funny seeing these comments about Robert, because they are true, and no one's saying this directly to Robert. But now seeing them here in this slide, it really makes sense, and that's why I find them funny, or they're true. And I'm not laughing at this. I'm really happy that someone appreciates Robert's hard work, and yeah, really good guy.
So thank you, Jim. We hear that you will never refuse a challenge and usually will exceed expectations. So that's a nice one. And so that's Robert, and we just appreciate that you're willing. And I know this is getting out there and doing a charity auction is a little bit of a stretch for all of us. It's hard for me to host it. We got to figure out what we're doing here, but thanks for playing along. And so I am going to We have a nice bid going on from Jim. I am going to say going once, going twice, and sold. All right, thank you. That's our charity auction for the year. And you noticed that you didn't actually have to put in a credit card to make that happen, but we will follow up with you talking about how to actually take advantage of this and how to direct your funds to one of the charities that we've identified that are going to be part of combating climate change. So thank you both for playing along. And let's see, where are we in our presentation? Bogdan, I think we're coming back to you next.
Yes, I'm sharing my screen. I think that went pretty well for our first charity auction. We should do it more often. Maybe this kind of get out of mess free cards will become a thing, and people will trade them and everything.
Oh yes, we should print them up like baseball cards.
Yep.
All right.
Cool. So I want to share a bit with you about the roadmap for next year. Just the big items. I think there's a lot of minor items that we work in every release, but this is more like the North Star, the initiative, the challenges that we want to tackle. So first, the thing that we've already started in 1.18, and if you look at the SQL console page that Radu also showed earlier, it's already revamped to Bootstrap 5, and actually it's not just the UI, but we are doing a complete form revamp. So we are switching a bit technologies as well. So that will be coming across all front-end modules. And actually, we want to create what we did on the admin UI that Radu showed. We want to do the same thing on the front end. So when you create an application with Plant an App, it looks outstanding out of the box. So then the need to apply customization, CSS customization, and so on becomes even less needed. We have a big milestone for us, which will probably be a Q2 thing. It will be the marketplace. So we have, and in fact, we've always had all these ways in which the platform can be extended with new integrations, new actions. Like even last week in the low-code campfire, we went a bit through this. I think the subject was around some custom fields inside the listing module. And I showed how 2 different ways to extend the platform at its core, to create new kind of edit controls, new kind of formatting controls, and so on. So there is a lot of capability that is not, it's a bit untapped, I would say. So then we want to get these capabilities more into the developer's hand and have open the world to anyone to publish their own extensions to the platform, which I think will create a very healthy ecosystem. Also, a bit of thing with us right now, the deployment experience, it's half manual, half automated. So it's a lot of, it takes more than it should with such a platform. So we are continuing on our path of improving the deployment experience through GitHub, to the Git repository. So more and more features are added every day. The dashboards, we keep expanding them. So right now, we support the tiles that are highly customizable. That has been a very appreciated feature, but adding more data sources to the tiles, but also new elements of the dashboard. Because what we see in Plant and App systems, you could get this kind of dashboards more manual using maybe charges libraries. We see that people rarely need to go to BA software anymore, because they build this kind of dashboards directly inside the Plant and App. It's real time, and you can control let's say the refresh logic. You can control what data ties to, so you have much more interactivity in building this kind of BA tools. Again, this is something that is the current standard in the world today, to have better page building, drag and drop kind of designing pages. This is also an initiative we are looking at. Enhancing workflows. as Radu mentioned, they are very robust today, but still we want to add more capabilities like adding event handling or to be able to raise events, and we want to add debugging capabilities to be able to easily debug, go step by step in a workflow. So, you know, features like this that will make workflows even more easy to use, to debug, to encapsulate, to reuse, and so on. We've discussed it again in one of the campfires and also internally to have more auto-generated documentation, because I think the advantages of a local system is that it's mostly self-explanatory. You know, so like you have a workflow, you see visually the business logic behind it, but then some features are not so explanatory. So adding more such features that will make it easy to self-explain what the system does, and also automatically producing the documentation out of all the elements that are in there. This is something that I think will add a lot to being able to go back to a system maybe, I don't know, 3 months later and remembering, figuring out what needs to be done, how everything ties together. So these are like the major initiatives that we have on our roadmap for next year. But I would like to open it up to see what's on other people's agenda.
Sure. So if anyone wants to talk, just feel free to raise your hand and we'll set you up so you can talk. Hello, Jim.
Good morning, afternoon, or evening, depending on where you are. Happy holidays, Merry Christmas. I would like to be able to use something other than the DNN database to put my entities, and be able to build an entity in another database. And because right now I have to go out to a public web server, but there's a lot of entity work that I would like to do, that I'd like to do behind a firewall.
And should this external database SQL Server, or are your requirements to support other database types as well?
Well, I hadn't thought about that. I mean, my initial thing was SQL Server, specifically into an Azure database that's someplace else. But I also have clients involved with Oracle and things like that. But those are more unique. So I don't expect that from the tool. But if I could just build an entity and point it, have it do its work in the other database, instead of just in the DNN database, I would, and that other database being on another server, so a full connection string.
Yeah, makes sense. And we have Robert here to hear it firsthand. Robert also was the designer behind all the entity model.
I can use my 2 hours towards that. You could just get it done.
Yeah, I'm sure it can be a start. Cool. We have another one on the chat from Roberto. Splitting databases and import current tables into entities. So yes, importing existing tables and not just tables, I would say. This is something that we always envisioned, but never got to figure out how to do it nicely. Importing other data sources. I think that's a big one for us as well. Thanks for bringing it up, Roberto. So basically, you might have a Salesforce connector or a dynamic CRM connector, and you want to, let's say, bring an entity, not bring the actual data, but bring the structures, so you can work with it same as you'd work with an entity. And so this kind of reusability. I'm not sure I understand what you say about splitting databases. This is the same thing as Jim mentioned. Okay, he confirmed yes. Yeah, so importing entities from existing tables.
Great. If anyone else wants to raise their hand or put something on the chat, we would love to hear your wish list. There's one from Ben.
Yeah, one from Ben on the sorry, on the same idea, just the ability to export or import entities as a whole, not necessarily existing tables.
So like moving between systems, that kind of thing.
Okay, yes, I understand. Yes, that will be, yes, I'm noting it down. Yes, indeed. So ability to import, export a system without the data, just the structure and everything it generates, like APIs, pages, permissions and everything. Yeah. Yeah, this should be an easy one to achieve because I think entities are already exported in the Git repo. So we already have the exporting capabilities.
Great. There's still time. Somebody else has a suggestion or a wish? Okay, well, I think in a minute we're going to move on to question and answer. And if you think of something in the meantime, we can do that as well.
Yep. So any questions of any nature, we are all here open to answer.
And while that's formulating, I'll just say we've been having a really good, I think we're getting a real good participation on our campfire, which is Fridays at 10 Central. And so that's another great place for questions and answers and suggestions. There's a really kind of a direct line to the product team and to the support team that happens every Friday. So that's a neat thing. Question there on the chat.
A question from Jim Anthony. Is moving between systems the same functionality as the marketplace feature? I would say no. So moving between systems is more like deployments. So moving in an entire configuration from, let's say, staging to production. Whereas the marketplace feature, it could be about whole systems as well, but probably we'll start it with smaller bits and pieces, you know, like having new actions, like the add-ons that we have today, like the Stripe add-on, the Salesforce add-on, things like that. Those could be elements on the marketplace, but even smaller bits, you know, like a workflow. It doesn't need to be a new DLL or a new package. It can be as simple as a workflow, you know, that does something like the one that Patrick did in our video on the main website, where there's a conversion, financial conversion, a currency conversion. So that could be a workflow in itself.
So then there was just a comment, a thanks for the presentation and nice to see what's possible in version 1.18. And Jim puts migration on his wish list as well.
Okay, cool. Noted.
All right. All right, well, got a few in wish list and questions and answers. We're about ready to call it a year. This is the last Low Code Cafe for 2021. We'll be starting up again. We're going to skip a week. Oh, I'm sorry, there is a question on our question and answer. Did you see this, Bogdan, from Peter?
Yes.
Q&A?
Yep. So Peter asked, I was thinking of offering a complete basic solution in the store. Would that be possible? So yes, definitely we want to get to that place where you can, let's say you import a, I don't know, a help desk solution. So yeah, this kind of functionality is where we ultimately want to be, but probably we'll start with the smaller pieces. Yep. So I think, yeah, I think also from Peter, but from others, I think a lot of people are willing to do this kind of things, this kind of, let's say, repeated business, because I think it can have two benefits. One, of course, it can be charged per let's say, installation. But the other thing, it's also a very good source to get services, you know, because once somebody installs, let's say, the help desk application, they might need to extend it, so then they will go to the creator.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Well, so as I was starting to say, I think it's about time to, you want to have final words for 2021, Bogdan?
I think I would rather leave it to you. I cannot compete with you now.
Well, ho, 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 and Merry Christmas. We are glad that you gathered here today with us. I have some inside information that Robert and Radu are on the nice list for being good sports. To all the Plantin' App team, you've been very good this year, so watch for something special under the tree. To our Plantin' App investors, it's so nice to see so many who truly believe. And to our Plantin' App community, you know that I know when you're sleeping, I know when you're awake, and I know when you've been good to your digital neighbors. So many of you are on the nice list this year. And I'm certain that some of your wish list will be in your stockings before you can blink. And with that, I want to wish you all the best of the season. Merry Christmas. Happy holidays to you all.
Thanks, Santa. Merry Christmas to you all.